apparently we do have a Black Widow director, but just keep in mind that she has not actually been confirmed by Marvel Studios. Like there's been no press release, but pretty much everybody's agreeing that Kate Shortland is the actual director for Black Widow. So this is kind of big because it's been a long time coming for a Black Widow movie, I would say, you know? Like
Well, it's been at least 10 years.
yeah.
She should have really got a movie in phase one, but
Well, yeah, because well, me personally, like if they're having it right now, I'm like, do you really need one?
I mean that's a big question though, isn't it? Do you really need any of the
Eh,
movies?
Look, I've always I think I've said it in the last couple months that the movies and kind of this where we're at now in 2018 and looking forward, it's almost comics brought to every other medium. There's about 30 comics or something or more or less that
There's
come
way
out.
more than
Okay,
that.
there's more that come out every month from Marvel and DC, right? You don't have to read all of them, and not all of them are necessarily meant for you. A lot of these are targeted towards a different audience, and I feel like a lot of these shows and movies are targeted towards a different audience. I feel like the MCU one, especially specifically the movies, are going to be similar to the mainline comics where they're targeted for everybody. You know, so the Black Widow is most likely going to be trying to target everybody, whereas I'm assuming Black Widow is going to be different than Cloak and Dagger, Runaways, and stuff like that.
Like the way I look at Black Widow, it's like this movie's probably gonna make a good 500, maybe 600 million, right? It's gonna be a pretty substantial sum they get from it. It's probably gonna be on the lower end.
The budgets, yeah.
Yeah, apparently Scarlett Johansson's asking price for like these type of movies now is closer to the 15 to 20 million. So it's like she knows she can get that easily in this movie moving forward. The thing I feel about it is like the smaller the budget, do you go more niche and try to put a little bit of a like harder spin on the movie to be like, oh no, she is that assassin, or do you take that more comedic approach, everybody, and risk alienating some hardcores? Like, I think that's the balance.
I think you do a mixture of both because that's what they've done with that character.
They made her like fight aliens and stuff like that, so she has like she's not just fighting spies and stuff. Like remember in Avengers 1 where the biggest thing was she was just being tied up and she has to get out of it real quick. Like that was, and then she fought aliens that like an hour later. So it's one of those things said you could put her back in that situation where she's doing more spy stuff, and make it a low budget and maybe make it a little bit more niche. Probably not. It won't be as niche because it will be a Marvel Studios film, but. It just depends. I don't know. I feel like they would do it a little bit less budget. Wasn't Ant-Man? No. What was? I feel like one of these movies was a lower budget. I'm just not entirely sure which one.
I mean, none of the movies they've done so far are you can really consider low budget.
Okay,
I think they're all
true.
above 100 million.
Okay, true. That's true. They're all like that. Overall low budget, but I guess low budget to their standards.
Yeah, I mean, like this one probably warrants what, like a 50 mil, maybe like a 70.
I would say you don't top like 100 mil with something like this. It's like, I mean, the lowest budget they've had is a tie between the Incredible Hulk and because I believe that was at like 150, and I want to say Iron Man 1 was between, it was somewhere in that ballpark. But like, I mean, think about how low budget 150 million is. You know? It's like,
I mean, it was Deadpool money, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. So that's really it. So you just kind of think of it that way. I'm feeling that this is gonna go cheaper on that end, but it's like once again, it's Black Widow, and if you're showing her as we're pretty much learning, it's gonna be a prequel to Avengers and stuff. So you can't be like, well, it's a giant alien invasion. It's like you got to go simpler. So I think that they got this in where they can tell a more personal story, and I think people will gravitate towards that more than a giant spectacle movie. That's just my idea, but like I think that's the direction you go in, you know?
And just to fact check it, Iron Man 1 was 140 and Incredible Hulk was 150.
So yeah, so there you go.
And I want to say Homecoming was actually lower than that. 'Cause that didn't have a big budget.
I think Homecoming was because it was Sony, so it was originally supposed to be a lower budget, but the moment they started adding in bigger stars, I think it elevated to like 170-ish.
I want to say I tell a lie, it was 175.
So yeah, okay.
So there was one recently that wasn't. No, it's a surprisingly low amount of what you'd have thought it was. Was it Guardians?
Guardians 2, I think, had a lower budget than most people were anticipating. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It would have a fucking spell.
I think that's kind of like when you look at Black Widow, obviously just the nature of what they're doing. And I know so far the rumors are saying, oh, no, it's the prequel. We don't know. Maybe it is set after Avengers 4, like we don't know yet. But I get into this territory of, I'm like apprehensive to kind of think about it that way now. I'm like, well, let's say hypothetically if she dies or something in the upcoming film, what happens then with the character? Like, do people go, well, she's dead, I don't want to watch that? Or like, I don't know. I feel weird about it being a prequel entirely. Maybe it's both. I don't know.
I'm gonna stick to my guns with this movie. It's gonna be Skrulls.
Yeah.
Why else would you do? If it's gonna be a prequel, apparently the director's very character driven. Like, I haven't seen any of her movies, like the 3 she's done, but they're all really like small character movies. So you can finally flesh out this character, give her something to do, while making the movie important. If Captain Marvel's setting up the Skrulls with the whole Kree Skrull war, give the Secret Invasion set up to Black Widow.
Yeah.
And if she does die and it's a prequel, have her be the Skrull. Or you could go all out and say, well, if Far From Home has Jessica Drew in it, have Jessica Drew. You could even put like Ghost in this movie.
True,
She's
yeah.
For shit.
I would love to see her come back. Definitely.
Yep.
Have them in the movie and make Jessica Drew the Skrull. There's tons of stuff you could do with this thing, but that's just my idea and what I think they should and could do. But
yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm excited for a Black Widow. Like, I'm excited because I want to see how they take it, but it's not necessarily something that's like a must-watch for me. It's like it's not like I'm.
Oh yeah, it's definitely it's like a comics. They're not really
like not everything is gonna be for everybody, right? I mean,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't necessarily read a Black Widow solo comic, but that's just me. I'm sure there's a bunch of people who would love to. I feel like a movie's gonna be better than a solo comic in a way, because they're gonna try to
say
market
that her
people.
last 2 solo comics have been fantastic.
No, but I'm not saying in a sense of
I'm
quality,
saying,
but like for enjoyment for me.
I'm on your side as well. Like I wouldn't go out my way to read one, but the last 2 have been great.
All right, well there you go. I mean, if they're going off of like some of her solo comics, that'd be fine.
That's kind of how I feel about Thor. I've tried to pick up Thor, all the best runs anybody's mentioned, and I like them enough in the movies, but I cannot get into the comics. Like, I don't know what it is. Even like the Jason Aaron run, everybody's like, here's where you start. I tried it. It doesn't work. I cannot get behind it.
Not every character's for everybody, you know what I'm saying? Not every character's for everybody.
That one cuts me deep. Jason Aaron's Thor run is like one of the best runs in comics ever. It's so...
Like I said, not every character's for everybody. It's 2018, and moving forward, there's gonna be so many things out there. Not everybody's gonna be able to watch everything. Besides maybe a select few, like us weird ones who just want to watch everything. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of things out there, man.
That's true, and I guess we're gonna go off of that onto our next highlight, which